Heyo!
What is going on, guys? It's Triple G here, back with another Borderlands 3 video, and today we're going through the patch notes that have been released with DLC4, and there are some pretty big things in here. Guys, if you enjoy this type of video, please consider subscribing to the channel. It really does help, or join us on Twitch. We stream 5 times a week, and otherwise, let's get straight into this. So today we will release an update for Borderlands 3, which will be live on all platforms at 12 Pacific time. Now, this update adds support for the new campaign add-on Psycho Krieg and the Fantastic FusterCluck, and addresses some additional character mayhem changes. So DLC4, if you aren't aware, you probably should be by now, is dropping today. The new content is being added, and the increase of level cap to level 65. So, in general, we're going to be getting 2 more ammo SD upgrades for pistols, shotguns, submachine guns, assault rifles, grenades, and 2 expansion SDU upgrades for the Lost Loot machine in Sanctuary 3. They've addressed a reporting concern where the refill ammo prompt would persist for clients in a multiplayer session, and player class icons will now show with profile pictures for Steam and Epic Games stores across platforms. So that's pretty cool, but the main thing there is SDU, which is always pretty good there. So in terms of mayhem, players will now have a chance to redeem themselves in Fight for Life when Slayer is active and they have killed an enemy with melee. So that was a bit of a bug that was happening. If you were using Slayer, you couldn't actually get yourself up by meleeing an enemy, which was pretty poor. Mayhem modifiers will no longer change when joining through matchmaking, which is really, really good. That was a bane, really, for when I was streaming with viewers. Added Mayhem scaling support to shields with Novas and reflect behaviors. This is a big one. This is a real big one. So we're now going to be able to test just how big the Nova damage on some shields, or some of those shields with really good abilities, we're going to be able to test and see how those actually scale up. And it will open the door to a lot of new shields that probably weren't being used in the past. In terms of character-specific behavior, Amara's ties that bind augment will now only pass gun and melee damage to enemies. This is really interesting because those of you that know ties that bind is pretty much the pinnacle when it comes to Amara's augments. So this is going to be reduced, but what's really interesting here in the italics here, they have put certain damage types were unintentionally being passed to other enemies caught in the middle of the face graph. This change prevents those interactions, but no other changes have been made to this skill. So if those of you know, you could ties that bind a boss, kill the enemy on the outside, and it would do a ton of damage in the middle. So expect to see that wound down just a little bit. The Beastmaster's head count passive skill no longer prevents Rack Attack from gaining the proper number of charges when scoring critical hits. This is a really nice one because head count was fixed in inverted commas, but now it is truly fixed. So that's a really, really good one for flat players. Beastmaster's dominant skill will continue to damage beast targets throughout its skill's duration, which is great. The Beastmaster's Stackbot class model will no longer reset stack damage increase when an enemy takes from splash source and elemental damage done over time. This is huge for the Stackbot, absolutely huge. So the Stackbot is still used pretty well, but if you were using anything with a dot damage or splat damage, it would kill the Stackbot. So the Stackbot will really, really become very, very effective. The Beastmaster's Friendbot class mod now increases the pet damage, which I think should have been a given, which is great. The Gunner's Drowning in Brass passive skill now applies bonus damage through both of Iron Bear's weapons rather than just the left. This was a really strange bug, but one that needed addressing, so it's really good. And then just the last one is a hotfix. Addressed a report concern that the legendary shotgun that Garcia would fire vertically when being used by the client in multiplayer. I hadn't experienced that, but it's nice that those are fixed. So guys, that is it for in terms of the patch notes. Some pretty big changes for Fl4k, as well as what would be considered a nerf for ties that bind. If you have enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to the channel or join us over on Twitch, where we stream 5 times a week. And otherwise, I'll catch you on the flip.